Yeah, I don't know. Do we have anybody tonight?
Yes, Linda from AI,
AI.
the finance people.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, got it. Sitting here studying. Cool, thanks. Appreciate you doing that. That's great. We have that up. Hey, bud, how are you?
Very well. How about yourself?
See you.
Yes. Doing wow. It's almost Friday. This.
Oh, how are you?
It's for our breeding. Hot.
Yeah. You gotta. We ordered, we just ordered more the other day too.
I didn't picture.
Oh, yeah.
I need to try to read.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Yeah, it's that green zip up one. Wait, he should have more.
Yeah.
I signed a purchase thing not too long ago. Yeah, so I know he has more, or at least he ordered.
Yeah, we had it.
Uh-huh.
We took that group picture once
Yep.
and brought a couple. So.
Yep, and then we have extra ship in case.
They took out a whole building. The backyard. So Addie.
The one she's wearing.
But she's there.
For pic, no, for pictures, we're talking about the, yes.
Picture. Oh, I agree. Didn't have anything to wear. I didn't know I was. They just offered yours.
Yeah, so we said, yep.
Three.
No,
That's, yeah, yeah.
Oh, Sarah. This is Lucy's scores.
Oh, thank
So don't recommend. You'll be disappointed.
you. I'm sure I will. She's our worst child. Come on, Sarah.
Bless you.
Yeah. I want that. I want that changed next month. This thing was.
How are you, Linda?
I think, I want this, I want it. Changes.
I'm sure all these pieces. This is the contingency,
Mm-hmm.
but that gets piled up into one.
That goes over here. Also into our reserve,
There's.
and then there's the other one that,
Unrestricted ones.
yes, we can use it if we want to, but these,
Yeah, that-
the 3% is required by law. This one is, I believe, to do some third line things that we have going on, but this is what we got.
But this one. Needs to change.
3.3 million.
So we'll do that. I want
And then
this-
obviously we've been adding percentages of what that is in the section that we have, but yet the one down here, we some of the one up here we can. And the
Then we'll have
paper is what we have to comply with the state.
Yeah.
Mhm. So the state only wants
Let me just,
what they want.
just stay.
I believe this, checks that we have with same rate. I don't recall exactly, but I believe that's what that is. So that paper is not as-
It's just, because it's not.
Edit out.
Mhm. So technically, that's the now. So whether that's meant, because we're part of our, like our insurance is not self-funded, but part of it is self-funded. So if we had a time,
I don't care, as long as we keep it on the agenda.
we could dig into that as well, but most of it,
Yeah, because
we
we're
get pretty good about being able to just speak for health wise. But workers' comp is still a policy in place, just like what else would, but for health, that,
Three readings.
But
not fully, I think, sure, but combination of a hybrid model.
finally got She's like,
It
I want to
showed
keep that
like
secret. Until I got my multi-engine.
782,000 was added.
She said, I was gonna try to.
Correct.
get
I was like,
Part
don't
of
do
that.
that.
Well, but you don't learn it from my sister.
He told me he got.
Oh, she did.
So this is what we amended. This is what the actual audited financial report. This is what the board approved. This
You
is
sit
what
down at home, you got your. Well,
we have twice. And then these are,
working out plan.
so technically we owe money to the building
Oh,
corp.
it's-
The building
Lines.
corp is the one that owns the, where we.
They're all in here.
The building corp
Yeah.
does. The building corp is still operated by. Weird. Yeah,
But it's still
But she can put in.
finance, we still.
Yeah.
So she can put in.
correct.
Server talk about
Oklahoma. will be
paying that off
trainings.
faster.
There has been, I think it was just a matter of, for the last couple of
You
years,
have a
we
wish
were,
list, depending on the
we were
requirements.
in the red. Yep, so I think for us, what we wanted to obviously build up the reserves and being able to.
Yeah.
So at least for an extra days, there was some talk about that before, whenever there were trying to build out. Additional build out.
No, it just sounds like you're going there, trap.
I wouldn't first build it back.
They're not gonna put it back.
Is there a goal of,
Yeah.
It's not.
we're supposed to see this at 5? No.
Yeah.
No, so I think the number that we can discuss had been
Yeah.
between 3 to 4. I think the more that
She
we,
got qualified.
the more that we add to unrestricted over their payment.
One-
The less likely
So,
thing that they are to give us money just based on what we already have.
It was a bunch on there.
So we can try to stay away from the larger number, just to-
It's like we can't hoard it. We got.
Right.
Now,
even though things like
Yeah.
are we ready to
closer
start?
to 500 million.
You wait, trust. I apologize. I didn't hear. Anybody hear from Tim? Or?
Yeah.
I feel like she said she,
I think she was gonna be here for the board meeting, but not the work stuff.
oh, but not finance.
All right, well,
I think-
Call us, do I need to call the finance? Director? Call the finance, we'll call the finance. Yep, oh, it is recorded. Yeah, sorry, I apologize.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. Happy October. Linda from Abstract Insights is joining us. Lori couldn't make it tonight, so it seems like we're finally running on all cylinders with people calling in on WebEx and invitations going out, so thank you. Probably gonna be pretty short monthly financials because everything's going so swimmingly. As far as monthly financials, everything is running as it should be. We're almost, as of right now, 20% through the school year, but nothing is sticking out as being overspent or underspent and revenues coming in, et cetera. Last month I covered the big one, the one we always really pay really close attention to, because it's such a big part of our budget, all the things we do around payroll. Everything else is, as far as monthly financials right now, are going swimmingly. Jump right into hot off the presses, the audit update. The final is in and it has been put in the October folder online. So the final audit, I have the draft in there, the final audit's in, we're done.
What folder's that? October?
Board meetings, October.
Okay.
We don't have a separate financial folder now. We just have board meetings and then October, all the finance documents is all go into that.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Well, I just put it in today, so, you know, if you were looking, you couldn't find it. Had the draft in, but put the final in, and the audit went very, very, very smoothly. I had one question that was, a little tricky to track down, because it was involved a former employee, but it was completed, done. You know, usually we kind of wait for a flurry of questions from the auditors. I had one, I know Abstract Insights had some more, but there was nothing that we were stumped by or couldn't resolve. And I'd asked Linda to jump in if she has anything to add with the update, with the audit.
Yeah, no, it went well. There was a lot of prep time in advance, so they got most of what they needed ahead of time. And then we did have a few back and forth, which is to be expected, of clarifications and questions once they get the numbers in. But no, I would agree with with everything you said there, it was a smooth audit and was pleased yesterday that they did, or last night, I think was when we got the final draft or the final audit off of the draft. So yeah, that was great.
So in the board folder is the audit, and I also updated the longitudinal budget reserves balance and I added teacher compensation in that. So that document has been updated and that's in the main board folder for you all and the public to see. So the good news is the difference with the audit was we ended up with a balance of plus $783,000 roughly, give or take. Which puts us in a ending balance with spending money and Colorado Trust, almost 3.7 million. So 3.69 million to be exact. And I'm really proud of that. When I started in FY 17, our ending balance was just over 3 million. So we've had a lot of tumultuous years, but we've been slowly but steadily rebuilding and putting that in a great spot. I thought this was a really interesting data point to add in that document, and it's just added it. I know I've talked about it at some Monday meetings. Teacher compensation comparison. Twin Peaks, the St. Vrain Valley School District. I'm going to do the St. Vrain Valley School District charter averages as a new column. Boulder Valley School District, Poudre, Thompson, and Greeley. Our employee compensation is very competitive in Northern Colorado. We're actually higher than Thompson and Greeley and Poudre. We're just, of course, in the St. Vrain Valley School District, who happens to be the highest in Northern Colorado, but we're in really good shape. And I think when we see the other 5 charter schools and their pay averages, I think we're also going to be really pleasantly surprised. We've done a really good job with competitive pay with our teachers, our hourly employees, our leadership members. We're just something to be really proud of. And there's other payroll information about that because I know this comes up. So I think it's just important for new board members and even ongoing members to see how that competitive salary breakdown works. Our special ed employees match the St. Vrain Valley School District schedule 100%. And as do our hourly employees. We follow the St. Vrain Valley School District pay schedule. So special ed teachers and staff and our hourly employees are the most competitive as far as our groups. Teachers are our second most competitive, and then leadership and salaried others we're a little bit farther behind, but we've been catching up too. That's kind of the ranking of our employee groups and how competitive we are. And again, that was kind of mind blowing to me to look at Northern Colorado and see how competitive we are. The St. Vrain Valley School District has now passed the Boulder Valley School District significantly. It's pretty impressive. And you know, when Alicia and I look at this and put some of these numbers together, we're like, we don't know how the Thompson School District hires anybody because they're smack dab in Northern Colorado and they're 10 grand behind us. So they're 17 grand behind the district. I mean, they are really, that's what happens when communities don't pass mill levies and the snowball effect, and it catches up. So really proud of that. Congratulations to all of us with a great audit. But any questions about the audit and how we ended the year and all of those things?
Can you just remind the board how the audit is conducted, and who does it?
Well, we have to hire a third party, so we hire an outside contractor, and we've used this firm for the last 6 years. And the first couple of years we did the audit, they were actually here in person, and it was pretty intense. This new company, and it's when Abstract Insights came on board. There was a lot of digging through paperwork, and we had an old accounting system that didn't mesh well with modern accounting procedures. So now that we've caught up and joined the 21st century with Abstract Insights, everything is there online and very easy to find. Irene from Abstract Insights gave us big compliments that our website and all of our board information and everything is easy to find, it's accurate, it's up to date, and it just makes everybody's life easier. It's really now for our company that's doing it, it's kind of now that we're running so smoothly, it's just a kind of like I said, they have to look for some things. Well, let's look and zero in on this and see what their answer is. So then we do it. I mean, last year's was about, it was a grant that we received, I want to say Davis, what's the name of the grant? Daniels Fund grant. So they wanted to see the grant award letter, they wanted to see our matching budget, and then they wanted to see, ensure we disperse the funds as we said we would, and in accordance with the Daniels Fund over 2 fiscal years. We had all of that handy and got it done.
And those same, I'll jump in on this a little bit too. That was one grant that we did go and review again this year during this year's audit as well. But it takes about a month to compile all of the documentation. And there's hundreds of pieces of or files that get compiled together off of a checklist that we then supply to the auditor. Typically, there's 2 to 3 days of what we classify as a field audit. And that's where they then have compiled all the information that we gave them in advance. They go through it all, ask a lot of questions, ask for additional sampling of information based off of the first set of hundreds of documents that they got. They'll go through those processes of the next samples, and then we'll go back and forth to confer on trial balances, additional documentation needed, different discussion points and things like that. And that can take, this went quite quickly, I thought, between the draft and the final. So that was really nice to see. But that can typically take up to about 3-4 weeks to finish that process to get through on the tail end of it.
We've been doing this with Abstract Insight for years, right?
We've been with Abstract. This is our 4th year with Abstract.
And they basically work with the auditing company.
And this is our first full year with Abstract taking over the complete role in finance without Amy Vincent on paper. So.
And that's been going okay.
Yeah. I think it's been going great. Linda mainly handles our payroll. So Irene, if she was here, might have something different to say, but I think it's been going fine. I think it's working through a few kinks, but nothing, honestly, nothing normal that we wouldn't find normally, even with Amy here. So, and then just, I like to always, all these checks and balances in our audit, because St. Vrain are our authorizers, all 6 of the charter schools audits are then submitted to the district to be in part of their audit package as well. So there are another set of eyes, the authorizers' eyes on our 6 audits to even double check, triple check we're all in line and we're in compliance. Lori and I spoke briefly with Abstract Insights just around now the amended budget update and the amended budget process. We'll talk about it in detail. The board, I will, Abstract Insights and myself will not be ready to present an amended budget to vote on until the December meeting, but we'll talk about it in depth at the November meeting. As we just cross T's and check I's. We're still working off, you know, in your folder, the monthly packet, we're working off the budget we created last April. So the amended budget will have many corrections in it with incoming money, some things that have gone up, some things that have gone down, things of that nature. We will talk and I will present pretty rough, but 99% completed amended budget in the November meeting that we'll go through line by line, just like we did in April when we did the first budget. And then we'll spend another month getting more data and then you'll vote on it in December. And it's due to the district by January.
Is that going to result in hiring?
Not higher. Oh, yeah, we're in, and I'm going to talk more about that in my director's report, the official plan. Yes, we have room in the budget to, again, right now, I would recommend what I talked about last time, a 4% raise package for returning faculty, staff and faculty members. But that would be based on performance-based, based on their returning employees. They have an evaluation from last year. We'll set min maxes with that, at least 2%, maybe up to 6 or 8%. We'll just figure, I'll have all of those details ironed out by November, but I think that's gonna definitely go through.
And legacy teachers have been here for longer. We're trying to move them up, right? Make sure they're.
Especially our returning employees, yes. Because we keep raising the base, so it's like if you've been here for 2 or 3 years, it's almost a penalty. I mean, so. But we've been able to do that every other year. So if we do that again this year, it'll be 2 years out of 3, we've been able to do a base pay and then another bump for returning employees, which is about 2/3 of our faculty. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be cautious, hold that question just a second. I'm gonna be cautious. Heard nothing from the state other than they want to keep funding K-12 education, but it's been in the news. There is a downturn coming in the economy. There is some of these gigantic surpluses that the state of Colorado have been receiving lately are things are going to settle down, and who knows, the election, there's all kinds of things that could happen. I mean, so even that, I want to keep it conservative because there's a lot of unknowns. I mean, we got hit. I mean, think about it, from April to now, one of our biggest hits was last year, they said the mill levy was going to be, St. Vrain said the mill levy was going to be at 2,500 per pupil, and it was probably going to max out because they can only do so much of their general fund from mill levy internals. Well, Governor Polis's shut down and new laws of around oil wells and shutting down oil wells that have been running so long, that number dropped by over $200 per student. Big school like ours, that was all of a sudden $180,000 out of the budget, in, out. So there's a lot of things that can happen. So we got to always be conservative, but be competitive, but be conservative. We did get our, my favorite topic for those of you that have been around, we did get our special ed reconciliation bill. So it's a formula. And so every year, the district, last year was the first time the St. Vrain Valley School District, and I will put these spreadsheets on our paperwork because I just got them today from the district. We're in a shared insurance model, so we share costs, special education across the whole district. And the formula is pretty straightforward. They figure out how much the district has spent on special ed. They divide it by their total number of students, and that comes up with a dollar figure. This year, the number was $887. Last year, it was $764. So it was almost a 16% increase. So we budgeted $307,000, $310,000, something in that neighborhood. The special ed reconciliation this year for last year is actually going to be $388. So we were kind of expecting that increase. When they gave me the bill on Friday, some math was not done correctly. It was actually $540,000 when they called me on Friday. And I threw up, and then I yelled at Mimi and Tony Whiteley from the district, and I said, that can't be right. Then I went and threw up, and then I regained my composure, and we recalculated all of our expenses that we should be able to deduct. And flurries of emails went back and forth with Abstract Insights, Mimi and Tony from the district, and myself, and it went from 540 to 388. So that was pretty good. I was pretty grumpy when I went home that night. I knew it was wrong, but
Right.
Bill, it was, let's work through it. I knew it was wrong, but that's what it was. And then, I had on here when everything was looking wonderful with some other things, trees and masonry repair. We might do a few more, squeeze in a few more minor projects, but as I've said, no other major projects are being completed this year as far as maintenance. We might do a few minor things here and there, but nothing in any significant cost.
And that's not something we have to approve as a board. That's out of the budget you've already.
It's out of the budget.
Yeah, so that's just
If I go over it, I'm gonna have to come and say to you, okay,
a little extra.
0430 is gonna go over. Do you approve it or not? And that's part of, we might even bump it up before the amended process. It's the amended budget, just so we have clarity.
So like the
But
stuff,
I'd rather squeeze it in than,
so then like the stuff we had last year, we purchased the ATV and everything. That didn't come out of the normal budget.
oh yeah, when we did the amended budget.
Okay. Because I remember we still had to sign off on that.
When we did the amended budget, we added like
We added all that.
$200,000 from the April budget onto the amended budget in November.
Still any purchase over 10,000.
Has to be signed out.
Individual purchase.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the difference between like paying the bills for the tree and masonry versus, a purchase. They're all,
If it's over 10 grand, still sign up on
Are-
it.
okay,
Any expense.
Are you asking about signing off on them, or are you asking about anything that wasn't in the budget that we have to come back to the board for approval? Is that what you're at?
kind of, I mean, so we're saying we had this, okay, so when you have 10,000,
Uh-huh.
this is just for everybody's.
That's
info. Trying to give you a good example. So,
Well, let's just,
so like the AC stuff, you have.
we did floors,
Yep.
paint,
Yep.
ATV.
Mhm.
Those were three big additions that were added into the amended budget.
Okay,
And it was explained, we're gonna do floors over the winter, we're gonna finish painting, and I'm buying a snowplow. And so in the amended budget, the board approved almost $200,000 more in repairs and maintenance.
so we didn't have to sign off each time.
Well, you do if it's over $10,000.
Well, yeah, you said it's $200,000 extra stuff.
Well, you voted on the budget line item.
Yep.
And as the double check, anything over 10,000
Has to be
Okay.
signature.
So like the AC stuff that's getting repaired on the roof, I mean, is that, I know a lot of that was over $10,000.
Yes.
So you're seeing that come through, okay.
Well, actually, we even overshared it with Jose. We had two bills that came in like 5,000 and 6,000, but we had Jose approve them because they were,
The total of,
we didn't want to
Okay,
have an
expense.
appearance of, we were dividing it up, so the board's not seeing it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
So is this, because I don't, unless you're gone or out of town, and I sign something, I don't see it. Is there?
right,
Yeah.
so whenever they come in online, they automatically go to Joe, and then from there they go to me.
Is that something I can look at on that?
I don't know.
No?
I don't,
It's only.
I don't know. We could,
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't- I mean,
Or you generally tell us about those expenses on the Tuesday meeting.
I talked about it in
Andy,
finance, I talked about it in Monday meetings,
Yep.
but Jose is the official. The board votes on the budget,
yep, and then from there we
and
go.
Jose is the $10,000 back check.
then you're the fund, okay.
Because if there was an expense happening that we didn't like know about or something was
Right,
happening
then
on
it
the
would have to
table,
be-
it would be in financial reporting. We would see that it was different from the budget and be like, hey, hang on a second, why is this so much more? And it would kind of raise a red flag that we could review.
Right, so basically my job there would be to check the even if it's over 10, to make sure that it falls within the category where it's supposed to fall on our budget.
Yeah, that was my next.
And then
question.
from there, it gets approved.
Okay, so you have
Yep.
$200,000 in line item
Right, yep,
0430, and then you make sure that, and can you see it deducted out of
Yep.
there? So you
I mean, I can see what the item is for. I can, for the Haynes mechanical stuff, I mean, each document has 14 pages to 17 pages that get uploaded. So it's not just like the sheet, like the cover that gets uploaded. I'm able to see the whole thing, so I can go through the whole agreement and review that as well.
So if he's sick or decides to take a 2-month vacation, then.
Sometimes if he's not available, we're trying to get away from physical
Mhm.
copies. I've had you.
Yeah,
like,
you've had me
right.
sign.
I've had not any board member, but I will come to the vice president or president, if Jose's not available. Sometimes I need to get this done.
Okay, so you don't need a step access, that's paper copies, fine, okay.
And I think what we agreed on, or at least what we spoke about when I came on as treasurer, was that the previous treasurer was having to be chased around for
Yeah,
signatures
yeah.
or for stuff like that. So then I try to do them within 2 days as soon as they get them. I mean, as soon as they get a chance to review them, then they get approved.
Okay.
I don't think it's ever, I mean, I don't recall Joe or Alicia, or
Well,
anyone else looking for.
with Haynes especially, and the stove.
Oh, right, yep.
And I've said, this is in our queue, Jose, I'm not approving the stove because it's not installed yet,
Right.
just letting you know. And then, and Abstract Insights, I'll tell all three involved in the billing process,
Of why we're not.
not paying this yet, hasn't been installed.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on in the background.
Yep.
All right.
And like I said,
assuming
I
if
mean,
there's anything that, no news is good news, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty thorough. And like I said, when that comes in, you can kind of tell where it's coming from or what it's supposed to be for. You know, when Joe's trying to figure out if that's an actual expense or if it's part of our agreement that we already have, for example, with Haynes, and that's something he figures out as well. So we don't approve them as they come in, if that makes sense. I mean, they're in there, they're just making, he's making sure, I'm making sure that they're actually coming from where they're supposed to be coming from.
Okay.
Well, I'm telling you, the first safeguard in the process would be this. If a weird bill came to Abstract Insights, they would go, whoa, Joe, what is this $70,000 bill in blank? That's not budgeted and we've never heard about. So they would be the first check. Like before they even generate the bill.
Mhm.
And then it's a beautiful thing when we get the bills and bill.com. I deny all the time until I have more information.
Right.
I wouldn't say all the time. It's not uncommon, like, I'm approving, I don't know what this is. I am gonna put it aside until I talk to Tyler. Or Irene, or, so there's.
And there's a separation between, Abstract Insight doesn't do the purchasing or the quoting out. I mean, that's, you want to make sure there's checks and balances in place. And that's part of what the auditor's role is also, is to ensure that the structure is in there. And so you'll find that the school will be going out and getting the quotes. They will be putting together the requests. And then Abstract Insights looks, when it gets to the payment structure point of, do these things tie together in order to then have that process through and then entered into the system. So you have two different objective sides reviewing it.
And does Tyler is he the one that goes out and does looks for quotes and stuff? Is that how you have that?
Over $5,000, we could look for multiple quotes.
But he does that? Okay.
And Amy Anderson.
Okay, really?
And the reason why that happens is because it's written in our processes that anything over 5,000 has to have a multiple quote involved. That was part of the board.
And cheaper, we're under no legal mandate to do the minimum bid. Cheaper does not mean,
Right.
as we all know.
Not the government does,
What you pay for.
Cool. So no other big projects coming up. That's good.
The only one that have already been approved, and the biggest one is the staircase to the crow's nest.
When is that going? Well, that one's approved
We approved that in April
and that's, yeah, okay.
because we have a ladder going up there.
So when is that gonna get done?
We've got an architect, we've got multiple bids,
Also, it's in work.
finding somebody to do it.
The process.
Process. I keep waiting for my urinal guards to show up. I know, it sounds, I mean, you ordered it.
Can I go back to salaries?
Please.
Luke.
I'm ready to build
Go
my,
ahead.
Want to talk about your own
ready to build my.
Setting aside being conservative, what would it take to have a 5% raise instead of 4?
You would be approving a negative budget instead of a budget with a projected surplus.
By a lot?
No, but never know what's gonna come up, and, a 1% raise right now costs us about $55,000.
Right.
So the 4% is keeping us in line, and we're going to one of the, as far as an amended budget, I'm looking at like, it's just gonna show a $30,000 or $40,000 surplus, so I'm going right to the line with this one.
So
So
you're not project, or I see all of the projection as like a $750,000 miss is incredible, but that's a big miss. Like, could have been spent.
Well, I was trying to say 450. Preschool was a miss, but I've got that fixed now. Preschool was, I mean, we didn't know how much we were gonna bring in with PK. So if you compare our preschool anticipated revenues to last year's, that's almost $100,000 more. And then about 60 of that was projects that we wanted to get done, but we couldn't get completed before the end of the fiscal year.
So you're saying when you build a budget, you target, having a little bit of a surplus, but that's not
Last year, I was trying to save 450 to 500,000.
to put it into the into the
Yes.
reserve.
Correct.
So your goal every year is to budget, so at the end of the year, you can hit a little bit into the reserve.
Yes,
And keep
for a
that,
lot. Last year, I aimed for a lot.
and keep that growing.
Which we did.
What, is there a ceiling on how big the reserve can get? Are we allowed to just hoard money, or can it be, is there some
Hoard.
limit where it's like we need to spend money?
That's the paper reserve, it's actually in the,
Yep, the 3%.
We're well above the
No,
paper
we
reserve.
can save as much as we want.
we can save as much as we want, but then we have a minimum requirement of 3%.
And so the amended budget is on the 852 student?
Yep.
Or on whatever
They could
October account.
Yes,
We haven't talked about October yet. That's what the amended budget is. In November and December, it's
Yep.
gonna reflect the new
Right.
student count.
And that's the one that is either running at a surplus or.
I'm aiming for the
Correct.
thinnest surplus I've ever done.
In order to give the raises.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow, okay. That answer your question? So his goal is to try to put a little bit into the reserve every year.
And last year was more than a little.
And last year was a big amount, but remember that reserve, and we're well over the 3% table.
Right.
But that reserve is, we can have a catastrophic issue with the
Yep.
building.
Mhm.
We can have an economic downturn where we just, I mean, there's a lot of things that can zap that 3.7 million, 6 million out from underneath us. We have a big mortgage, so
Correct.
it's smart that we built a big reserve. To try to always have a little bit going into that each year, or a little bit more than a little bit is important. But the fact that inflation is so high and St. Vrain keeps doubling down on paying their teachers a lot more, that we have to be competitive. Telling
What I heard last month was the balance of taking risks. And
Yep.
how that paid off over the years. I'm just posing that question of about 4.5%.
Well, what he's saying is what he has now planned is right up to that surplus limit.
Yep, we'll be right at the line. So
Yeah,
we
right at the
won't
line.
be in the red. We won't be, we're right.
Yeah.
We're not in
And
the,
we did give a rate at the grade. Rate,
Mhm.
we gave a rate already,
Yeah.
which I think was great, but it helped our retention coming in this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, we got below turnover.
I mean,
But does that make sense, Luke? He's saying last year we put a lot into the reserve.
Right.
Ton,
and we were still able to do raises.
and we're still doing
Yep.
able to raise it, but this year it's gonna be tighter. So, but he's still going, instead of putting 450 grand away, he's gonna go up, put just a tiny bit in, because we're gonna give those raises down. So we're, like you just said, we're putting a very small amount into reserves compared to what we've done in the past.
Well, and here's what always will skew the end of the year
Mhm.
as far as expenses is what we have to keep aside for contingency.
Yep.
Line 0840 contingency. We have not had to touch this contingency since I've been here.
Mhm.
We've never had, since this new contingency number has been there, because this is by statute,
Mhm.
we've not had to dip into that. So already, even when I get it right up to the edge, there's gonna be a contingency of $125,000 set aside for the catastrophic event.
Mhm.
So even if I get it to like that plus 20, plus 30 projected, we'll add another $126,000 on it for the contingency.
I have a question. So for the roof, which is coming up and gonna be a big project, does that come out of the reserves or does that come out of our budget?
Last time with, well, if it was last year, we probably squeeze the roof in, but I
Mhm.
doubt we're gonna see those $800 PPR increases again, but
Which last year we weren't quite expecting. We didn't know
Yeah.
what that amount was gonna be. So when that came in, that's also what helped with the surplus that we had. We would have put away.
So, and we found that out in the second semester, right?
Yep, we found that out towards the end. Yeah, right around the winter time.
And that was a PPR increase for this year, right?
No,
You're
Yeah.
not expecting it to go down, are you?
no,
no.
no.
Okay, but doesn't, I haven't seen it go down before.
Mill levy went,
No.
I've never seen it gone down, but if you go to that longitudinal, you'll see some pretty, well, that's not true. The first COVID year, the state
Yep,
panicked and they minus $341 out of PPR.
Okay, so it has gone.
Then they felt bad. It gave
Yep, and then they
them
felt, yep.
Yeah, free money.
It was like a lot of
There
money.
you go.
They overcompensated when they panicked and they did reduce it that year.
Mhm.
Interesting.
really not typical.
Yeah, sure.
But we're also not projecting, Colorado had a lot of ground to make up.
Yep.
And they're much closer now. So we are not projecting those numbers to continue to increase at the percentage that Polis has done it for the last 5 years. That's not sustainable for Colorado to keep doing that. While we had some big jumps, I don't anticipate
Right.
having big jumps
All right,
again,
so more conservative going forward.
especially with you.
But look, I'm gonna say this much though too, in every one of these lines, they are all conservative based. They are all. I want money at the end of the year.
Yep.
And you never know what's gonna happen. And so just because our line item budget says, for example, books and periodicals, it's around $170,000. We do not have the mindset, let's spend it all. We can, hey, we just printed our own primary source manuals and we got a deal out of it and saved 20 grand. We don't have the mindset then, well, let's spend that other 20 grand. We put it aside. So that is our nature in the whole budget in every line, like just because it's there doesn't mean we're gonna.
I appreciate that. I agree running a budget that doesn't have a depth at the end of the year is why. I was posing like, where's the breaking point? Or asking the question of, so after another few positive years, and now we have 4 million or 5 million in reserves, like what is,
Well, if we do my recommendation on maybe the roof and the intercom system, that I envision pulling out a budget next April or May that's pulling out of reserves.
Historically, also, look, I hear what you're saying. We also have a tendency to spend less than budgeted, which adds to that surplus at the end of the year. So while we're projecting to put in $25,000 in the surplus, we may end up with 75 just because we didn't spend 50. So we always end up with that as well.
but then you think pay the teachers an extra 55,000.
Joe has done bonuses. at
Yep,
the end
at the
of the
end.
year. We
Mhm.
have done that historically. That has happened in good years too.
For returning employees.
That's what we did in the spring.
Yep.
We gave raises in the spring for.
Yep,
looking
so-
back.
So I think as we go through the year and as that revenue comes in and as the expenses continue to trickle in throughout the year, then that's when we can make more choices, whether that jumps over to the springtime. Like Alicia's saying, vision insurance last year was supposed to be 9,900 and we ended up paying 6,200, so we saved 3,000 there. So I mean, it adds up throughout the budget, so there are different items where we over budget, but we end up coming below that, and that helps with the reserve as well, or any other raises or expenses we have at the end of the year.
Sounds good. Got one more on there, right? Bond rating?
That's next. And that'll act. It's not a significant impact because we're not looking at buying any more land or taking out any loans on bonded projects. Last year, our rating remained the same. I hope this year we get an uptick, but it's kind of a moot point unless we were planning on doing anything. And as we are still house poor, we're in no way talking about, let's build a baseball field or let's add a wing, or we're not there yet. Yeah. But hopefully we'll get there.
Perfect. That's it. All right. That meeting's adjourned unless anybody else has any questions. take a bio break and we'll get back to the regular meeting.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Cheers. No.
Hi. Bye. How are you? Good, how are you?
Hey, Joe.
I'm actually really proud how accurate that
Oh,
was.
hey, Joe. Joe?
And let's try and let you.
It's just the yeah, it was just the preschool that got me.
He's on his way.
He's coming.
Yeah, well, I understand.
That was good news.
No, it's great.
Hey, Joe, Linda was asking for you.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I just thought you were pointing that it was.
Sorry.
Yes, Linda?
Hey,
What?
just a quick question. I'm gonna bug out unless you want me at the board meeting, but this was the main part I wanted to be at.
You're good. We're all done.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
How's the
Take care. Okay, bye.
flag of the United States of America,
to the republic, which stands one nation. With liberty and justice for all. I'm sure quite how to start that. I'll work on that.
Look at some great job.
Yeah, I missed that. I was trying to get here.
Sorry.
You actually found it just like, okay. I was like,
I know, it's
just like
way too
that.
genetics. Amendment to the agenda, I am gonna amend, we're gonna add, or I'm gonna propose to add 4A, so I'm gonna have underneath audience participation before the executive director report to have Booster Club kind of give us a brief on what they're doing with their liquor.
I second Matt's motion to amend the agenda.
Thank you. Oh, we need to do roll call first. Let's do a roll call, then we'll get that. I apologize, I jumped ahead. Yeah.
Frank,
Here.
Fuller,
Here.
Pilgrim,
Here.
Linda,
Here.
President Lopez.
Here.
And Helen. Here.
All right, now I can move on back to that. I skipped. We'll amend the agenda as I briefed, and we already got a second if that counts. Then, guess what on that?
Frank,
Yes.
Fuller,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Pilgrim,
Yes.
President Lopez.
Yes.
Linda. Yes.
All right, nice. 4A there, Booster. Recognitions. Let's start. Anybody? Jose, you want to go from your side and?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. I want to go ahead and recognize the entire secondary and elementary front office staff. Every time I come in, they're always great to deal with. They're juggling a lot of stuff at the same time, especially in the morning. Especially when I decided to show up in the morning and kind of just bug them. It feels like that was a bad choice, so I'll keep that in mind next time. But yeah, it's always nice to see how they can kind of just juggle everything and go back and forth and yeah, it's great to have.
Anything, brother?
I think just coming off of the finance committee meeting, it's grateful to be part of something that's in a healthy place. I think well done. It's a challenge, and being in a healthy spot has got to be a lot better than a few years back when it was not in that situation. So, yeah, keep it up.
The PTO for the Timberwood Trot, they met their goal. It's pretty fun. And I also want to recognize Mrs. Mahoney for the on Tuesday.
I just want to say thanks to everyone for helping with the events. It was a full schedule this fall, but finishing up this weekend with Oktoberfest and birthday. Great season. Thanks for everyone.
Just wanted to recognize that the great team. They do the same unit couple years in a row now with the ecology, but they were able to invite some parents in to do some presentations. Patrick Kramer is a firefighter, and he did a great job. The kids were just enthralled. Talked about the impact of fires in like neighborhood band in wildlife. It was really good. And then Kate Lenz is she's actually a great PTO member, but does a lot of things, but she's actually a really smart lady. And she's a scientist, and she was full on in the pond and doing samples and all that, their field trip. But the kids really, yeah, I mean, just, it shows them those real world connections to think they're working.
Good field trip.
Yeah.
Tuesday night was, are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just got a quick shout out to the teachers, Allison, Joe, Colleen, Finlayson, Steph Stickow, and Cindy Lauterbach for all the work they've done with volleyball this year. They've covered everything I've asked them to cover. They've been
Job with the setting up the stuff here tonight. Tuesday night at Niwot, they had the St. Vrain Valley Fall Choral. And it was what, 11, 12 different schools got up there and sang, and our choir was very, very good. And then at the end, I mean, we just looked good, we sounded good. It was really impressive to see Miss Carpenter, if you don't know, is the lady running that. And then they had all students, 300 students get up on stage and sing together, and they sound, I can't believe they got 300 students to do that. And they sounded amazing. It was really cool. And then last night we had the high school concert, and that was really, really great too. Our school's got a thriving music program, and our choir sounds great. So, and then she did the naturalization, sings. So that lady's been burning the candle at both ends, and then she's going to be doing more tomorrow. So my hats off to music department, especially Miss Carpenter, for all her hard work. She's just been really doing great. It sounds great. So over to you.
Yep, I would echo the music department. Concerts this week were outstanding. And I'm sorry I missed the larger event. And hats off to the PTO. They just go through it like a machine. It's amazing. So, congrats to them on meeting their goal, and good job.
Do you guys know what they raised?
40,000.
40,500.
Think about it. $40,000 having kids run. They're geniuses. That's why we're going to do things differently next year. That's amazing. All right, sorry.
That's okay. I was gonna say the combined concert, but I will switch it up and just say, the parking lot. I'm one of those parents that like parks in the north lot and walks all the way around to the far west corner. I see like almost all of you as I walk all the way around the building. And I just love how much of a presence there is outside. It's really nice that you all take the time to be outdoors and monitoring the kids and saying hi to parents and just being friendly faces out there and keeping our kids safe as the chaos of afternoon pickup ensues every day. So just thank you all for that.
That's a good point. They're just trying to make sure I don't yell
Again, right? Again.
Me mad, I have a tracking device.
Good, much better. Get a shot collar here. All right, smart Alex. Any audience participation? How about Booster Club? Come on up. Yeah, come on up in front of us, yeah.
You come sit or stand wherever you want.
You have a 20-minute speech.
Yeah, you can.
You have PowerPoint
There'll be a lot of
presentation.
awkward standing.
That's fine.
So I'm Brenda Firth. I'm the president of Booster Club this year. We've had a bit of a transition year. Sharice has been the president for a long time, and of course her daughter graduated. So we have kind of a newer group of people. Heather Van Pelt has stayed on. Then we've got Melanie, Jamie Ellis, mine is blanking, Kim, right? Then Aaron. So we have some really good people that are getting involved. Our goal is basically just to support the athletes. Longer term, maybe we could spread some music. We're just kind of bare minimum with athletics. And as the program grows, we need to raise more so that we could distribute kind of the same amount of funds per kid. 'Cause in the past, it's kind of been whatever we raise gets divided among all the sports. So our main fundraisers are concessions. You probably see us at many of the games, not quite all, many of the games. And then the other big one is Wheels on the Bus in the spring. So we're trying a couple new things. We tried the movie tickets this year, which actually has been fairly good, especially considering the amount of time it's taken from Booster Club. Because one thing we struggle with, and I don't know if you guys have suggestions, maybe this is some way you could help just by getting the word out. Volunteers. We struggle staffing concessions, and it's the same people every game. And that's burnout, you know, people are gonna quit Booster Club because they don't want to feel obligated to come to all the games. So if you hear people who want to get involved, people who maybe kids are needing volunteer hours, we like to have one adult there just, you know, in case of something. But there's plenty of kids that really can almost run it themselves. But the high schoolers do need hours, so here are people looking for things. That's a great opportunity. Yeah,
Have you reached out to NHS, National Honor Society? Because I know those kids need certain amount of hours.
so I haven't specifically reached out to them. We've tried a couple things, mostly with the newsletter, you know, putting at the beginning of the posts, like, you know, sign up for concessions, if you need volunteer hours. I know last year, they actually, Mr. Yu sent out something to the students and we got 0 sign-ups from it. So it's kind of something that we've struggled with. I do like reaching out specifically to NHS, so I'll reach out to the about that. Reach out to the coaches, which is hit and miss on responses. So yeah, if you hear people, if you have a way to kind of promote, because without volunteers, we can't do concessions. So that's our big thing. New this year, we're doing memberships. Where people can become a Booster Club member or sponsor, get some advertisement on the wall, mentions in the newsletter, bunch of swag. So again, if you know of anyone who has a business and is looking for a write-off, point them in Booster's direction. So that's kind of where we're at, what we're doing. Like I said, hopefully we have a lot of people with kind of younger end of kids, you know, freshmen, sophomores. So hopefully we have people for a couple of years and maybe next year. So, I don't know if you want questions, thoughts,
We were talking
concerns?
about trunk or treat, right? I was telling Brenda how you're kind enough to donate the funds
Oh,
from
right,
that
yep,
to Booster Club.
and you know, we talked about it at the community board meeting about how, you know, the board members present at that meeting weren't, you know, I believe some of us knew that and some of us didn't know that last year, you know, when Sharice was around, that's what we agreed on was, you know, all that, or whatever we made from the cow experience, we donated back to Booster. So we talked about how we were gonna do that again this year. So that's something we continue to move forward with every year if you guys want to do that. So we're happy to, we're
Yeah,
happy.
my picture taken with one of those.
Yep, we're happy to do whatever we need to do. He was. So cute. You probably went over there later on in the night and there was a lot. So we'll figure something out. So that way everyone gets to feed them this time around and we'll figure it out. But yeah, I think that's gonna be a good thing and that's what we talked about at the community support meeting was that we wanted to do that. So I think that's something even though it's a PTO, you know, almost led event, we still wanted to continue to build that relationship with Booster, just like we did last year. So we want to continue to help out as well, just if we can. Yep.
School, we won't say no to that.
Yep. So we'll do that. I think last year we mentioned there was 480 or
Sounds right.
something like that we did. So
Okay.
we'll be happy to do that again this year.
What would you need from us? Would you need?
I think I think that's what we kind of talked about. We were gonna kind of fine tune stuff here. I know that I missed that meeting this past week, but I know we were kind of just gonna figure it out as a board and figure out. But I think we talked about lights. We talked about just lights, I think, right?
Lights and signs.
And signs, yeah.
So far PTO is planning to cover both of those
Oh, okay.
things, but
Great.
Okay,
we can all kind of talk offline probably.
Yep.
and-
yeah, but yeah, just let me know what you need.
Yep, and last year we did the Cherie did the QR code for donations or whatever. So if you guys have that still this year, then we can do that. So that way we had some cash that came into us and then money that went into that account too. So whatever we can do, we can figure it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's easy.
So yeah, so we'll make it work.
Yeah, well,
Cool.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
Brenda.
thanks, Brenda.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your support, service. All right, next director's report.
Good evening again. So, with, all of our numbers coming in as we expected, I can really talk about the formal executive director transition plan. We will be able to post and hopefully hire Alicia's replacement, the secondary principal, this fall, beginning in the second semester in January. So then officially, April 1st, Alicia will be the executive director, and I'll be the official volunteer. Here still too. But April 1st, Alicia is the director, but I'll still be here April, May, June, in the background, helping continue with the transition. But we've been working on it for years, guys. I mean, there's not like holding any big secrets and no, it's March 31st and here's the secret book. I mean, we, I think I've shared the executive transition plan with all of you.
Mhm.
So you can just see as things come up, we write up, we talk every day about the transition. And just as things come up, we talk, we write it down, and there's been probably very few things that have been new to you, honestly, this year. Very few new things, so
The list of volunteer jobs for Joe is growing though.
I was gonna say, I think
Good.
when we sit back there, pulling his thumbs, the parking lot admin operations supervisor
would be bored, I would get too bored, but it's gonna be the opposite. She's gonna be like, leave me alone, trust me.
and wondering all.
With a bird.
Joe, we have a cleanup in the cafeteria.
Like that.
I am telling you, all the community events we do, there's a weird creepy thing about grown men. Hey kids, once a women get away with it easier, even though we're in our Twin Peaks up and smiling, they're a little stranger. So we'll, and I'm excited about, well, Alicia's gonna be doing the hiring replacement, so. But I will be there to give a lot of advice, I'm sure. The charter renewal process, the charter contract is coming up. I shared with you, and I know I shared it Monday, the packet we have to put together to renew our charter with the district every 5 years. The timeline is due in December, the charter renewal packet. The process will be when the district receives the packet, the district accountability committee will look at the packet and they will submit questions for the school. We will answer the questions. And then at some point, hopefully in March, April, early spring, we will, I'll ask the president, vice president to come. We go to a district board of education meeting. We do a quick presentation and the board votes to approve our charter. And it's the two, so I have 3 school exemplars that do it. There is a state process, but the state process hasn't caught up with the district. So the district, I've been talking to Jamie Ball and Amy Livermore of the district. Don't use the state process yet. It's not ready for prime time. Look at what the other 3 schools have done and just follow their format. And it was really nice with the other 3 schools. I could look at all their questions they got from the district accountability committee. So I did talk to Jamie Ball about that. Jamie Ball is the executive director of assessment. So these things, when they're working with charter schools, it's like they kick the can and somehow she got it this year and it was me last year. So Jamie's never gone through this process before, but I had a good conversation with Jamie. So I'm just going to even freeload our packet. Like there's 2 or 3 common questions that the DAC asked each school that we'll just preload into our packet. One was Title IX. What is your Title IX process and procedures, which we're very good at. We have one. And then another one was working with special education students. In particular, how do you work with struggling special education students? So we'll be able to front load those 2 topics and get it in. And I mean, we just got it's not going to be hard to put this together because all of the work we've done with all of our governance and policy manuals, strategic plans, all of the stuff we have, it's going to be pretty easy to put together. And it'll be done. I'll make sure, you know what? Okay, that's a lie. I'm not going to have it. I might have it done by I'm going to try to have it done by the November board meeting. I'm going to try my best. Because, Thanksgiving's in there and then winter break. So, I mean, I'm going to try really hard to have it at the November board meeting so you can all take a look at it. before we submit it to the district. I'm not making any promises. I try very hard to get it done. And giving myself a timeline, making things I won't procrastinate, so I can get that done. And just cross off that sped reconciliation. That was a wrong number and I put it in the wrong spot. And we're about 20% through the school year. And again, it's just, it's been a really wonderful year. It continues to be a great, wonderful year. If you've noticed, we're missing a few assistant principals tonight. I'm excusing some of them with other things, because it's busy week tomorrow night, homecoming and Oktoberfest. So I'm going to talk with the whole leadership team and I might start excusing assistant principals more. They only need to be here if they're bringing kids to the event or something like that, just to cover everything. And I appreciate what you said, Melanie, about seeing us all out, because it has been a little more stressful this year with breakfast, getting us all out and about, because we have 2 members of the leadership team, one in the secondary breakfast and one in the elementary breakfast. So it has a little more stretched in the morning being out and about, especially in the morning, but we don't do breakfast in the afternoon, but we have a member of the leadership team with teachers in the afternoon, if not 2 for runners, with our releases to YMCA, daycares. So it's a little more stressful, just we're a little spread thin in the morning and the afternoon. So I appreciate that you're still seeing all of us, because I feel like we all out where we need to be and sports and things like that. So
That's great. It's good to see everyone's faces.
Yeah,
up.
you guys are doing a great job. Can you add your checklist, your transition checklist, when you figure out what we want to do with raises and budget? That we get a new contract for Alicia to reflect that
I
and
talked to Alicia about that. So she will.
and for the 1st of April. So I think the digital contract is long days.
Correct, it was August.
Yeah, so we want to make sure we get all that. You know,
We'll let you forget.
but sure, I don't know what a time frame is for that.
Like, I'm coming to talk to you.
Okay, all right, cool.
Do we have a account number? Are we looking at for October count?
Yeah, I know, but. Oh, yeah. You're supposed to be bragging about that tonight. 880 is what you wanted, and you said, I'm hoping for 880. A couple months ago, and you got 880. So that's great.
Where's the cake?
Yeah.
What's the name?
Well, when is it official? Because there's a range of.
We're still in window.
Next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday. But we're holding steady, right? Yeah, so.
Well, we're Friday when I almost threw up. We were all excited. We were going to be, some of my favorites in here told me, oh, 4 kids are coming and 3 kids are coming. I was like, oh my God, going to be at 887, 888. Some people let me down.
Well, the way October count works is it is a window, but if they're not here on October 1st, even if they show up after, we still don't get money. So if
Really?
they show up October 3rd, if they haven't been here October 1st or before, we don't get paid.
Really?
So we really try hard that last week of if anybody's considering, we're like, you could be here by the end of the month, and like, and try to get it quickly.
Cool.
But now it's, if they don't make it by that day, we go back to our regular schedule.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that. Cool. Are you done, Joe? Okay, Amber.
No, really just we're just kind of working right along. We have parent teacher conferences next week. So always fun, actually. Very valuable. And then trot day, had field trips already. The 5th graders went to the Golden Pond. Kindergarten had their first learning celebration, John the Appleseed Day. We've been doing a petting zoo a couple of weeks. So going with the regular stuff.
Is that the one out by the office 66?
So they're gonna bring them here.
Oh, cool.
I know. Be fun.
That's nice.
Yeah. Different.
We're also, things are just coming along. Those of you, I think most of you do know, but we do virtual conferences for secondary students for ease of scheduling for families. So we really toiled with that a little bit about whether in person was our favorite. However, for families trying to get into 8 different teachers over 3 separate nights for 10-minute conferences, it makes for a massive scheduling hardship. So we start with virtual. We got a bunch of college things coming up, the PSAT and NMSQT is next week. We also have College Visit Day coming up on October 23rd. This year, we're visiting CU Denver, CSU, UNC, and School of Mines. So we're excited about those. And tomorrow is Thumos Day. So that'll be a big, big thing for us.
Yeah, explain what that is.
Yes, Thumos Day is spirit. Celebrate the spirit of the school. There are lots of combined guided discussions that are similar across the board, but the whole intent is to build community and have fun. So there's a bunch of skits that the teachers have prepared for the kids, craft project, things like that. This year we are including middle school in the afternoon, so middle school is going to get a little bit of a taste of it. And they're doing some cool projects for houses.
Cool.
If we were gonna pop in for a little period of time, is there a time of day that would be better than others? Or does it not matter? Okay,
A lot of the events are reoccurring. So
okay,
it's like a cycle. right? So
okay,
Station A.
gotcha. And is it all in the commons or?
It's all over. So they're outside, they're in here, in the gyms.
Okay,
So the only window I'd avoid is over lunch hour.
okay.
At 12:30 to 1:30, they'll be.
What?
So that would be.
You let them eat?
Yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow is a behavior day. Okay, thanks.
And just to Jessica and Molly, really take on the brunt of that. I got asked several questions today from teachers and staff and kids, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just showing up. So they're doing a lot of work planning about.
That's fun.
Doing all the college stuff that are.
Mo.
I just saw Rachel in the hall. Is she back?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was here for the naturalization.
Ah, okay.
So all the stuff she was doing, I was doing.
And Quinn.
Okay.
Her duties are distributed for the 3 of us, but college is.
All right, we're done. Over to this, Bob, amendment.
In my report, fall sports winded down. Our high school volleyball would have been 4 out of their last 6, but they dropped one in Netherlands. I heard they shouldn't have dropped, but they played well, what I was told. So, they've had a good season. They're doing pretty well. They have an end of the season tournament. Men's soccer did win one as well. That was good. Good for them, good for their morale. And, high school cross country regionals is just around the corner. They got 2 meets, then regionals. The top 4 teams out of regionals will make state. We're sitting between 5th and 6th right now. There's a pretty big gap to 4. There used to be 5, still 5, you can be right there. Coach Jennifer did a great job. Her team's young. Right.
Tell them about the Lions meet, who took first place for the boys.
Yeah, for the middle school sports, yeah, Gabrielson, if you guys, anybody know who Gabrielson family, he didn't stay. He's fast, man, that kid run like the wind. He beat the kid from Sunset, who's the son of the Olympic coach at Niwa. So trying to recruit him pretty good. I mean, not recruit, that's illegal. Trying to come to Niwa.
Encouraged.
One.
He's number 1, yeah, he spanked everybody in the district. Good for him. It's the best.
That's awesome. All right. We have administration report.
Can I ask about tomorrow night with the bonfire? What's the timeline of that event?
So bonfire starts at the end of the volleyball game. Right now, we have it on the calendar for 6 to 8.
Okay,
Because we had to alter the schedule a little bit for volleyball, it might be 6:30 to 8:30, usually like over a couple hours.
okay,
We'll start to wind down.
okay.
About 8, we'll start doing the lights and turning off the fires, and then by 8:30, we'll let everybody out.
Oh, the homecoming. Yeah.
homecoming, and homecoming bonfire is just high school now, the high school bonfire, then the homecoming dance is Saturday. 7 to 9?
Yep.
7 to 10 for the dance on Saturday.
Right. Good. We're done with the leadership team reports. We'll go to community reports. I don't think we have any for accountability, but we did have a community support meeting with quite a few of us. I think most of us showed up.
All of us did.
All of us were there except Tammy.
Right.
You want to talk about that one?
Yep. Just a quick reminder, I know we skipped over it, but picture retake day is October 25th. Trunk or treat would be the 25th.
What was the first one? Sorry.
Picture retake. Oh, perfect.
So you'll match everybody else.
Oh, okay.
How do we get those shirts?
We can get it right in.
Yeah,
We got sizes for you.
they're reminded.
Remember that? I just didn't know. We needed to pick them up.
I got any of that shirt, but like yellow one.
Oh, I'll
And
let's
we
see.
got it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Green jack.
Oh, and he needs the green jacket.
What else?
I think your yellow shirt's in with the, all the stuff for the,
Oh, wait a minute.
yeah, I can grab it.
Call your own.
I need some of
All right.
the flyers.
Perfect. So we're good. We can move into community support. then.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll go ahead and can I get started? The committee agreed on keeping me at the chair. That's great. I like doing that. We also kind of discussed our sponsorship letter materials going on that we wanted to work on just to be able to recruit more business sponsorships instead of just more parent direct sponsorships of our endeavors. We discussed our trunk or treat for October 25th. We're gonna have 2 trunks. We're trying to figure out the theme. The board will work on that with the community support. But I think we have a good plan in place so far for October 25th. We also we tabled the idea of the gala for 2025. We're going to continue to discuss that here by the next community support meeting, just so we have more details on what we want to do and kind of brainstorm ideas of what we want to do for March or April 25. And I think that was pretty much it in a big summary.
You mind if I
Yeah, go ahead.
jump in? I would like to get a letter to vote on for the November meeting for the outward looking community support letter. So that's our goal is basically I'm plagiarizing a lot of stuff I stole from Alicia. Calling it our own. We're gonna take credit for it. That's good leadership. So we're gonna chop, what's that?
Do we need to vote on it here or is that something for community support?
Something that happens.
That's a great question.
It happens within the committee.
Yeah,
Or
I feel
doesn't
like it would
vote
be a vote on the committee.
Okay,
And then we
No.
bring it back to the board. But depending on how many of us are there, then we don't. Back.
okay, so we approve it in the committee and then because it's a board, it represents the entire board. So-
Correct.
So you're saying we start in the committee and then we approve it in the board meeting?
Unless there's more of us present at the committee, then we can vote on it.
We have a
Majority.
quorum vote on.
Yeah. Because they are posted, so we know that technically the whole board can show up.
Okay.
So then we can vote on everyone.
Okay,
The only time we bring it back is, for example, whenever the chair was the only person there from the board, then that's when we bring it back to the full board.
okay,
But if more than 4 of us show up, then we get it done at the.
okay. And then it's on the 24th of October, right? Yeah, I'm gonna unfortunately be out of town on the 24th and 5th, so you guys we'll try to get the letter
Yep.
cleaned up the next week and then circulate it for you guys to chop and then bring it to the meeting on the 24th and give it the blessing.
Perfect.
That sounds good to you guys. Cool. Making some movement. Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to kind of bring up is GTO. They made $40,000 on a trot watching children. So
Everyone loves children. I mean, helping children, I'm sorry, helping children, helping children. I mean,
That they use for stimulating these donations.
well, we've got a, okay, so we're talking, so when we look at the gala.
That is an investment.
Well, do we put a lot of work into the gala and get a little bit out? All I'm saying is next year, we're gonna turning our brains in a different direction to try to figure out how we can be more like them.
Can I just say that when my niece came
Something
over and
fun.
asked me for a donation, it was easier to give her money than give my 17-year-old brother money. So just putting that out there, that the cute factor does play a role in the amount of money that they're raising. I mean, it's not the same.
You're saying you don't want to give money to me? Really?
No, I mean, I'm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying that kind of added into the fact
Yeah.
that, they have that little bit of a headway.
Grandpas are cute.
Yep, I mean,
So we are looking for any,
Grandpas can be big.
any input, the next community meeting, support meeting on, we kind of have an idea which direction we want to go, but anybody has any great ideas? Well, the key is it's gonna be like the gala, but we want to bring more people in. We want to be a little bit more affordable where people can pay a little or a lot and have fun and have it maybe here in the spring. So if you have any ideas, bring them to the next meeting and we're going to continue to chew on that, figure out what we want to do. Great. Cool. All right, consent items. We have the HR report and the approval of minutes.
Yay.
Okay, and the approval of the minutes recordings are available in the appropriate monthly folder, and that's been, I got to look in there to make sure it looks good.
So it's out there already, right? In September?
yep.
I forgot to look.
August is posted when you vote tonight to approve the minutes.
It'll be in September. Okay. Got it.
So, motion to approve the recording minutes from the September meeting.
Second.
All right. That makes sense.
Yes.
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 I abstain. I wasn't here.
All right. Action items. We have the third reading, replacing the JLC with the new version there. JLCCR. EL dash JO. Anyways, it's on there. And we've looked at it twice, and I think, is this the last one? And then we can.
This is the last one.
This will use their one.
And you do have a clean copy. The red will be removed when I put it in the policy manual tomorrow. So approve tonight.
And basically, it's just changing from district to school, right?
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Same as last time. All right, we can vote for that now, right?
Yep.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the third reading changes.
I'll second.
Yes.
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 All right, outstanding. Discussion items. All right, so the governance manual, talked about referencing it, 2513, talks about the board will acquire monitoring data by one of the following three methods: internal reports, external reports. The director discloses information to the board, and then or by direct inspection. So we discussed, and Devin sent out a really good guide for what we have to do today for the tech piece, or responsibility monitoring piece. And she said, review the strategic plan, the tech policy, regarding financial conditions and activities. We basically accomplished that today in a 5:15 meeting. And then the escalation process and the student achievement data report. So the strategic plan talks about culture, climate surveys. The only question I have about monitoring there is student surveys, so safety and student discipline data. We talk about the safety and student discipline data in terms of our monitoring.
We collect that data and put it in that dashboard. And all of our student discipline numbers and safety and safety incidents collected.
And is the safety, like a student gets stitches or something, or is it something?
Or a crime, or a alleged crime, or a Title IX process, or a CR incident.
So it should be in the dashboard.
Yes,
So that data is available?
just the numbers, not raw data, not who did it.
Sure, yeah. Sure. That privacy. And then the surveys for parents and employees. So the parent surveys are the ones that we sent home.
We had a very high number last year, our highest in many, many years last year.
And then the student surveys, do we have?
We make them do it, so.
Yeah. So, and then the employee surveys.
That's the TLCC survey. So in the dashboard, under the survey tab, there's all the links to multiple years of surveys.
When you
And that
say,
was like last April that came out, right?
You know, like the teacher survey is the Teaching Learning Conditions Colorado one. We've done that 4 times over the last 8 years.
that's a state run,
Yes,
and that data gets posted back to you, director, or is it,
to public. It's
Public,
yeah.
that link, and anybody can see it.
it's all in the dashboard?
Yep.
And then employee, when you say employees,
That's the employee. Yeah.
okay, and then, because you guys do another leadership survey, right? Okay. And then communication retention, I don't have a problem with that. That's good. Anybody else have any questions on that particular piece of the strategic plan? Okay, and then there,
Oh, wait, I had a
go
question,
ahead.
sorry.
Julie.
Yeah, no, wait. Just from, I'd love to learn a little bit. I know student retention is always the name of the game. What have you found? Like, I was looking at the numbers and, there's a big drop from elementary to middle and then another drop from middle to high school. What have you tried in the past? What works, what doesn't work?
There's a small drop from elementary.
There is, but I just,
Small drop.
I just love to learn, what have you tried? What do you,
Everything.
what do you?
The trend line data is positive. The last 3
Okay.
years kept over 50% of our 8th graders to go to a 9th grade.
Oh, that's good.
That's
For
great.
the first 10-ish odd years of the high school, it was 20 to 30%.
Mm.
So Alicia and her team were keeping 50%.
So what do you attribute the increase in students staying to? Like, what have you done differently that has worked?
We have tried it all.
I believe it.
Literally everything. And for a number of years, none of it worked. And it was very slow and discouraging. And every transition day we try. And I mean, we've done probably anything that anybody can suggest. Some with minor success, some with no success, some with negative effect. That was the case. But just recently at our conference, they referenced again Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you are familiar with that, I'm rereading that point. And I think we've hit a tipping point.
Okay.
Enough kids making the decision that this is the right place. Enough parents saying, nope, you're staying at Twin Peaks. And then it becomes cultural. So right now, when we started this venture of recruiting our own 8th graders, the most common feedback and things we were hearing is excuses why they were staying. My mom says I have to. I don't want to drive all the way to Niagara. Or drop them here, those kind of things. And we don't hear that. Past 3 or 4 years, it's been excuses why they're leaving. Right?
That's great.
You developed a culture starting in 8th grade or 7th grade, middle school.
And we also learned that we got to start a lot younger. Yeah.
Mhm.
So when we started recruiting 8th graders, it was too late.
Yeah.
So that took us a number of years to figure out. So shifting our focus a lot younger. So by the time we're recruiting 5th graders, we're recruiting them to stay through high school. And no longer just a few days in middle school. Give them graduation shirt. So shifting that focus for
Why did
Kindergarten, we get graduation shirt. So like, we start with the relationship for the next 12 years. 13.
Why, I'm curious, what's the reasoning for people that leave for middle school? What do you hear about that? Like,
Don't.
you don't
Very few.
really? Okay.
A lot of times it is literally their big thing.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot, I hear about it because they have little ones and they're all big surprise.
The other two big ones I heard for high school is, the biggest one is sports.
Mm-hmm.
And like our family, we try to tell people that, kids play at Nylon, sports that we don't have here. So, so you can do that. And then the other one, I've heard a couple people say it's just too hard.
Hmm.
Which my response is you're learning something here and you're gonna leave here a lot more well-rounded. Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, a challenging school. I mean, it's a good challenge, but not gonna sit in the back of the corner. So that's good. The other thing,
If I can.
Yeah.
This is this is every charter school that has a high school in the state and nation. If you're keeping 50%, you are doing great.
No, I
So that's,
agree.
that is a touchstone number to aim for.
Well, and to hear that the culture has shifted, like kids are now feeling bad about leaving instead of bad about staying. I think that's huge. That's what you want. Like you said, that's the tipping point, and now it's going to become uncool to leave versus uncool to stay. I was just more wondering, just to learn, just to hear what you've tried, and if there's something that, is a common thread that we can support you in or help you with. I just wanted to know.
I think you would be shocked how much influence 13-year-olds have over their parents and its friends too.
I believe it.
I think
Absolutely.
you'd be very shocked about how many times we've heard a parent say, well, I want him to stay, but Alicia wants to go to Longmont High with Amber, and what am I gonna do?
I hear my friends whose
So,
kids go elsewhere now for
but
high
I
school.
think
I hear
what's
them
worked,
say it.
what's worked, and it's what's worked with our marketing and what
Mhm.
at the conference this week, Marissa asked me, I forgot what Marissa and I were talking about, but I did admit Alicia's won 2 arguments with me. And one of them was the marketing approach, because I think what we were trying to do was more coercion,
Mm.
tracking, more of a negative, like if you leave, and so now it's unique customer experience.
You gotta make a raving
That is
fan.
FTG,
Mhm.
our brand.
Yep.
We are providing a unique customer service, and we don't talk about, you were around 4 years ago. Remember, I used to do the thermometer of number of
Mhm.
tours we did, and and
Mm.
I don't mention that to parents at all anymore. I tell it to you guys, but I don't mention like as a, oh my God, we need 200 by December, or we're in trouble. It's very positive.
That's great.
Well, and there's definitely some momentum with school spirit.
Yeah.
And then the house system
Yep.
for middle school, like the levels of making sure kids feel involved and part of something.
Yep.
I think all of that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's positive. You gotta be positive.
Well, yeah, I was out at the Timberwolf Trot when all the middle schoolers were out there. And to see them all, Brenda's nodding her head, you were out there too. They were going crazy, competing with each other's houses. It was phenomenal. I loved yes, chanting. I loved it so much. Like made flags with their house names on a hockey stick. I was like, this is incredible. So it was
Great.
great.
School volunteers were so jealous. They're like, why don't we run the trot? It's so unfair.
Well, honestly, like we're building enough momentum where that would be possible. So.
I think because it's easier, I don't know, from kids I heard, like when there's 16 kids in your class, it's not as exciting as 50 kids. I think 50 kids, 40, 50 kids, like they're like, okay, there's friends I can make in that. When 16, I think that can be a lot scarier coming in and feeling like you're gonna end up alone. So I think that, we're at a tipping point. And
Mhm.
Is that house idea part of this marketing? Because that was brilliant. Like you said, you created an identity and you created this culture, it's fun.
A brainchild of my team that tried. some things to or another.
Yeah.
House system was, Maggie's making under pictures of the house system all the time.
Tell her we need her back.
But it really has taken off, and Dr. Bo has done a lot to grow it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I saw him out there with them too. That's so great.
So the other two, get back to the monitoring responsibilities, the other two on here, were the escalation process and the policy manual, page 33 and 41. 33 is basically personnel grievances or issues. And then 41 is basically the students in the policy. Now, they're basically the same grievance letter, same verbiage. And, you know, it says the board would like this to be resolved at the lowest level. We used it last year for a parent that wasn't happy with what they were getting from the staff and the board, and then the board, Devin and I ran the investigation and then wrote a recommendation and then gave it back to the parents and the staff based off what we found. So I've looked at it, we looked at it last year. I don't have any issues that school does a good job of making it known in multiple places. This is just a policy manual. I think it's an employee handbook also. The employee handbook also has it in there, in the same verbiage, in the same form, hyperlinked form. So between employees, personnel, students, families, there's a process there that that is clear for people, and I didn't really have a problem with what was in there, what was on that sheet. We used it last year again, so if anybody doesn't have any issues with what you saw there, then I'll say that that's absolutely satisfactory.
Sorry, can I ask a question, Matt?
No.
I'm sorry. I have one more question. Do you ever have instances, or what do you do when, I'm sure this comes up, when either an employee or a student have a pretty serious offense with a peer? So it could be employee to employee or student to student. And it's pretty serious where they don't really want to confront them. Like maybe there's a sexual harassment thing, or what if the student is doing drugs and the friend doesn't want to confront them? And you say like, take it to the lowest, the lowest denominator, for lack of a better word. Can they just go straight to the administration? Can they go to their AP? Can they just take it right up? And then would the AP or the principal encourage that student to bring in the other person? So you're bringing both students together, or would you try and resolve it discreetly?
Yes, but caveat,
Okay.
due process. No matter how serious an allegation is, there's gonna be due process. And whoever is making the allegation has to be counseled. Your name is gonna be on this.
Okay. So like if a student had an anonymous
We need
complaint,
anonymous tips,
yeah,
and we don't act on many of them.
Okay.
Unless we have to when it's safe to tell.
that's what I was wondering about. Like, what if there's something kind of serious that a student is really afraid of bringing up because they don't want to be outcast or shunned by all their
We
peers?
protect the identity. Part
Okay,
of
that was what I was
process
asking, is protecting
Just
the
because
identity.
you're making the allegation and we know and they're gonna know, doesn't mean we're gonna go talk about it.
Okay, or bring in whoever they're talking about.
It depends on it depends.
Okay,
So-
Cast a wide net in an investigation.
So from a board perspective,
yeah,
if a family or a student comes to us about something on their side, I refer it to them. If
that
anything-
makes sense. Yeah,
If anything
totally.
comes to you guys, you gotta refer it to me. If I'm not here replying, you gotta refer it to them. Because it goes through, serious things go through us. And then we tell that particular person or individual, you've gotta work from that side.
But if it's serious, we're not gonna say start at the lowest.
Well, no, but if it's a crime, you need to call the police.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Right.
Tell a
But that
student-
was what I was wondering, was like, students aren't gonna bring stuff up if they're afraid of, they're gonna bring in my friend and force me to tell my friend what I have to say. They're just not gonna bring it up.
Well, they also do have cameras, so I'm assuming if there's an incident,
It's a hard question to answer. Because it's
Situation.
sometimes
Yeah.
they'll say, hey, a kid is vaping in the bathroom, so we just go stand outside the bathroom. Right, like
Right.
there's some things where we don't need it to tie to something.
Right.
Anything that falls under Title IX has a whole federal law behind it of what we have to do in the process of all of that. We're in 8-hour trainings at least once a year, all of us on things that are required.
And sexual harassment, things like that are all state
Yeah,
laws.
sometimes peer mediation of like, hey, this kid's picking on me. Sometimes in our discretion, peer mediation is appropriate.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on the circumstance.
I just want to make sure there was a path. If somebody had something serious, that they weren't forced to like be face to face with whoever, employee or student. You know,
Again, situation, I mean, as far as a board is, we try to stay out of it as much as possible, to protect the board.
Yeah.
Last year, we had a situation, I just talked about where they involved, they wanted nothing to do with the executive director. And so, or the staff, and they wouldn't sit down and have a face-to-face with us mediating it. So we said, okay, if you're not gonna sit down face-to-face, then the board will determine what the issue is and give you our recommendation, and then that family done. So that's an example where something can occur where they're not happy with something, and then and we have to determine from the facts what to do with that and write a recommendation. So otherwise, when it comes to sensitive stuff like that, I think the school district and the school does a lot to help students with resources like Safe Tell. My son used it. Students, it was pretty scary with all that. And police came and took care of stress. So, I mean, there's avenues that they teach the kids, but we try to, as a board, we try to stay out of it, if that helps.
yeah, I just want to make sure something was in place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things in place, I think. Hopefully that answers.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Melanie, I have heard for 29 years, it's gonna be worse if I tell. And not 99.9% of the time.
The
That's
students
part of
don't know
our
that.
Working with kids and families, it's not gonna be worse. Be better.
Yeah, but the kids
But
usually don't
there's an
know that.
inherent
Yeah,
cultural fear.
for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough part.
Well, thank you.
Good discussion. All right, we have, I think we covered everything in the monitoring, the board communication, student. I missed something.
Achievement data report.
Terry, correct me. I think we.
That's all.
I didn't think there was anything in there that was updated.
Yeah, it's teed up, right, for the next accountability committee. So it's available for us to review.
We have student data, we've collected it, there's comparison data, but we will talk about it more in depth and bring it more formal for the next board meeting through accountability.
Accountability is
24th
Mhm.
also.
24th also.
Did we change that? I thought last year was on Tuesday.
No, I thought it was yeah, 24th.
One's on Tuesday, one's on.
This year they're both on.
Yeah, why is that?
Thanks for a very long day. I don't know. Maybe next year.
Well, accountability should be on Tuesday afternoon, right?
What's the 24th?
They're all on Thursday.
They're all on Thursday.
Can we, your schedule says 24th, we do it on the 22nd.
Want me to change the whole year? Or
Well,
Accountabilities were on Tuesday.
you guys tell me.
I mean,
We used to have
Oh, please.
finance on Tuesdays too, so we.
Well,
Finance and accountability were always on the same day, and
So community support and accountability have always been on the same day. Because we used to have finance on the Tuesday or Thursday, I don't remember which.
Oh, right, yep.
Sure.
I'll split
okay.
them up. I'll split them up.
I think we can handle it. I'm okay handling it this year, but really different days.
I think we keep it for this year and maybe we can talk about changing it next year.
We just.
Because accountability only means 4 times.
4 times. Yep.
All right. Good point.
Good.
Got me again. All right, we'll just keep it as is.
And we don't all have to come to every single
Right.
one of them.
All right, good. last thing is, anybody have anything on 10 board communications they want to, we talked about a lot of things that are occurring, kind of touched most of them. The only thing I'll say is terms of communications, we have a newsletter that I think I emailed you about, like, how do we put it on that? So Vaughn put together a format, I just kind of copied it, I thought I had program she had, but we'll just put it into PowerPoint and then PDF it, give it to you. We'll upload that to our, and then does PTO, do they send out an emails? So,
No, I recommend you look at PTO and booster club newsletters that they've been sending and try to create something similar.
Yeah.
So people know what to look for.
yeah, that's kind of what we do.
And Booster and PTO have done a great job with those this year. And they have access, as you guys do, to Girl Share to send me those. And then I just approve them on a schedule.
I have to get
We have
that.
access to it.
I didn't know that. Is there, how do I?
We can have another training.
Yeah, we'll,
You guys.
we'll talk offline. You can bring us knuckleheads up. Yeah. All right, cool. So we'll get that newsletter. I think I sent it to, we're still working on the format, but
The one thing is you have the accountability meeting on there. But the
Community support.
also, for the save the date.
yeah, I need feedback. I'm not going right now, probably, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We can bounce
Yep,
it around.
cool. Anyways, that's what's coming down for us. I don't have anything else. If you guys don't, then we can adjourn the meeting.
Quick, just a reminder that Melanie put a calendar together, a streamlined calendar for all of us. Everybody's accessed that already, right? So that we can keep track of what's going on at school.
So that's live and ready to go.
On Google, yeah. The
Awesome.
Google Calendar.
Is there anything coming up that you would like board presence at that you can think of that wouldn't already be on the calendar? She kind of merged everything into one for us.
Oktoberfest, if you'd like to show up and have a pretzel necklace with us on Saturday.
What time?
Birth Oktoberfest from 11 to 6. Just on pretzels today.
Board members allowed to drink beer at Oktoberfest?
No,
Not here.
You may see me there.
Once you're not in the booth.
Incognito again with the stanza.
Not as a formal member of the.
All right, yeah,
One thing Booster Club is doing that I forgot to brag about, we're doing senior posters that we're gonna do, and I have, everybody wants to have a quick look, I'll just show everybody super quickly.
Heather Gripka is Brody's mom.
so you guys
And
pay for
this
those?
is,
oh, yeah.
so we're gonna, this is just one example, but we have soccer, volleyball, and cross country down.
Oh, wow.
So we're gonna, hopefully I'll show them to you. We're gonna work with coach to get them all.
That's awesome.
all filled up.
Seniors that want to do it. It's
So-
just for seniors on sports.
It's senior sports. Again, maybe in the future we could it's other things, but I just want to brag about that because
Yeah.
Heather did a great
Yeah.
job. She volunteered all.
Jeez, that's awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, great.
All right. Anything else? We will.
We probably won't meet before the ballots go out, but the bond will be on there, so just keep that in mind when you're,
Ballots drop on the left.
Yep. so just keep that in mind. It's worded really nice. I honestly was afraid about it. A few months ago, I thought maybe it was gonna be worded differently and it might not pass. Now I feel more optimistic that it probably will pass, but I mean, just bringing up security up front and center, I think it's probably gonna be the thing that gets the community about not feeling bad about making school safer. So just keep that in mind.
I haven't looked at the voter guide yet.
Yeah.
Sounds promising. Awesome. That's a good one. All right. I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Ah,
Yay. Oh, opposed? None.
Have it stay
that?
longer?
oh. What's that?
Thanks, everybody.
Peanuts took good notes. Well, I don't know. It turned green and then it went back to normal.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out.